South African public sector unions are warning government of a possible national strike. Both parties are struggling to reach an agreement on a viable wage increase. Government offering 2%, while unions are calling for 6.5%. So what happens next? Let's bring in the PSA's Reuben Maleka and Cosatu's Simon Hlungwani, who join us, both of them, via our video link this morning. Gentlemen, welcome. Good morning. Thanks again for coming on. Simon, I want to begin with you because it's been 12 years since a big strike like the one that you're threatening by Cosatu. What will tip you over the edge this time?
Good morning, Michelle, and good morning to the viewers. We greet them. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to express our views on this matter. I must say that the strike is undesirable. However, when the employer, in the name of government, invites us to a strike, we are equal to the challenge itself. We have said to government they must up their offer from the 2% that they gave us, and so far they have resisted to increase. While they have given the public office bearers, in the name of legislatures, ministers and everybody, a 3% increase dated 2021, which means they are worried and they are cushioning themselves, but they are forgetting the public servants who are making the state to be capable of providing public service to everybody in the country. Over and above that, it is the responsibility of the state to ensure that our economy grows, to ensure that we don't suffer the difficulties that we are suffering currently in the name of increases of electricity, transportation and food items. We have not received any increase in 2020, which was almost a zero, and they took us to court to that effect. In 2021, what we received was just 1.5%. And this year, what we want is something against the baseline that is not below 6.5%, because as you would know, the inflation is currently at 5.9, and it's increasing. If you look at the cost of living, at currently 7.5%. So that on its own, compounded with the fact that the government is resisting to up their offer, it means they're inviting us to a strike.
The Public Servants Association, Reuben, said that it will undergo balloting this week before Friday to decide on whether a strike will indeed go ahead. Has that process now also begun?
From Cosatu, we are going back to council tomorrow to listen to the employer in terms of what the employer would be offering, because we give them a chance until tomorrow to up their offer. If they still resist, is then that they will be calling us to declare a deadlock. And once we declare a deadlock, it means the conciliation process comes through. Should we then get a certificate to strike, that's when we're going to follow the other processes, because then processes will inform each other based on what happens tomorrow.
Yeah. Reuben, let's bring you into the conversation here from the Public Servants Association. Has that balloting process now begun to determine whether the strike action goes ahead?
Thank you, Michelle, and good morning. First of all, let me just give a short background. We had an agreement, a plan with government that will finalize negotiations by 30 June. We are in August. So as the PSA noting that we have not been having any progress, we declared a dispute on the 8th of July, which means that by the 10th of August, there is no longer a need for us to even conciliate or even have a certificate. The Labour Relations Act now allows us to give notice for a strike. However, we are also required, in terms of the Act, to ballot our members. And that is the process that will start as of tomorrow. We will attend the same PCBC meeting, and we expect that government would be serious, would come to the party, knowing very well that we cannot be going to the PCBC now and then just to hear the one thing. This issue of 2% was of last week. It has been for the past month. So even last week, Friday, we had expectation that government would move. So tomorrow we have the same expectation. So we can't keep on having the same expectation without action. And that is what we are doing right now, to say that as much as we'll attend this particular meeting, where we believe government will come to the party, we will not stop the process to ballot. The process to ballot will take a week, which means that by the time government becomes serious tomorrow, and by the time we kickstart the balloting, the results will be equal. If they come up with an offer that can be acceptable, it will be part of those that members will indicate, no, we are balloting, but we understand that government gave an upper percentage now. Therefore, we are willing not to strike. We are willing to look at this offer.
Yeah.
And that cannot be stopped. But we cannot, at this point in time, when we know that petrol price has gone up by 45%, food inflation has gone by 16%, ESCOM has increased by 13%, and all these figures that I'm talking about, they are far apart from 2%. Then how do you expect a public service to live out of this kind of the increases that I'm talking about when they have 2%?
Right. The issue, of course, as well, Simon, is that unions, public sector unions, have cooled their demands to below double digits, even below inflation, as you just outlined. And the real issue is that public office bearers are receiving that baseline increase of 3%, and yet the offer on the table to public sector unions remains 2%.
Well, I must say that we have taken the 2% to our members for mandate seeking. All the Cosatu unions our members have rejected these 2%. Everybody has rejected, which means our members are ready to fight for what they believe is due to them. As an insult, the government then gives the 3% during that process to the public office bearers and still backdate it to 2021 April, which means they give themselves an increase over the past, over the 2-year period when they are giving us in essence, less than that 3%, and they think we will smile about it. We are ready to fight for it, and we think they are unreasonable given the current context of everything that has been mentioned, even by my colleague. So unanimously, the unions at the PSCBC are agreeing, as you can hear, even our PSA, that tomorrow is the D-date, is the do or die. If they don't seem to be moving, it means they're inviting us to a terrain that we had not planned for. However, we're equal to the challenge, and that's why we're going back tomorrow to listen to what they're saying. Yep. Should they be playing games again? Time has gone. We have started this process long ago, and we cannot continue not to move while we have moved. You can see we have shifted from 10% until to around 6.5%. It means we have demonstrated our seriousness to go down and negotiate. And by the way, we are open to negotiations. Is that government doesn't come back to us and take us very serious. So
D-Day tomorrow, Reuben, it will be the first time in a very long time, if the strike action does go ahead, that a strike on this scale takes place in the country. When would, if you don't get any joy tomorrow, when would that strike come into force?
Yeah, obviously, like we said, that there are processes and procedures that needs to be followed. One of it is the balloting, followed by the notice for a strike, and also the logistics. Because as my colleague from Cosatu has mentioned, this is going to be a collective effort. It does not mean that if one union like ourselves, we are following processes, does not mean other unions cannot join. And therefore, if we are going to agree on a particular date when we are going to resume the strike, we will do so collectively as unions. We all know that it's all members, whether you are PSA or any other member or non-member. They have suffered the economic hardships. We come from a background where it has never happened. I'm sure even the past regime never had an agreement or a promise that they will pay workers and they rob them of that payment. That happened now in 2020, where there was a resolution to pay 5.4%, and they robbed us. And they want to blame unions now to say that we took them to court. How do you have a resolution and then you say, I'm not going to pay? You want us to fold our arms and say, government does not want to pay, we can't do anything, or maybe we must talk to them. Why must we talk to somebody that says, I will not pay you of something that we have an agreement? So it has never happened. So public servants are hard done. Public servants are despondent. As we speak right now, if you ask Michelle in the country right now to say, is there anybody who professionally is happy, a police officer, a teacher, or a nurse, or a doctor that is saying the conditions in the public service are good, I'm content with my job? No, most of them will tell you that we're just doing because there are no jobs in the country. And it's because of the service conditions and the manner and the will of government to look after public servants. There's no will. of government to look after public servants, and that has been demonstrated by many means. You will hear the stories that there is no money, and that is one thing that we always hear. There is no money to pay public servants or to increase their salaries. But we have demonstrated that in the 2020 salary agreement that they've not paid us, they've saved over 30 billion. On last year, government could not spend 17 billion, which means that all what they budgeted for, they had underspending by 17 billion. So all of these things point to one direction, that you can no longer rely on the fact that there's no money. Yes, there is money, but it's just not being prioritized and being allocated to the relevant budget codes, which one of it is HR cost. As we speak now, the public servants are highly short-staffed. Go to a police station. How many police officers are there? Go to schools. You see the number of learners versus the teachers. All these things, it's just the will. But there's no will from our government.
Well, as Simon says, tomorrow is do or die. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you for weighing in on this discussion. The PSA's acting Deputy General Manager, Reuben Maleka, joining us there on the left of your screens, and on the right, Cosatu's convener, Simon Hlungwani. Public sector unions warning government of a very real possibility of strike action. That deadline for the decision is tomorrow.